Domestic violence is a very real problem in Calgary. Over 7% of all the calls to the Calgary Police Service are for domestic conflicts, and police responded to more than 5,000 incidents of domestic violence last year alone, almost 14 each day. Today, we're launching a new web-based app to help those affected by domestic abuse and violence. Connect Line is an app developed by Calgary Police Service and Calgary-based developer Colin Cheverie and Rob Sawchuk to help people connect with supports they need to protect their safety, stop abuse, and start working towards healthier relationships. In addition to Colin, we'd also like to dearly thank SAGES, the Connect Family and Sexual Abuse Network, and our project team for working tirelessly to bring the app to fruition. People impacted by domestic abuse usually need counseling, financial assistance, education, and other supports to move their family to safety and eventually to a more positive place. These supports are available, but it can be challenging to navigate which agencies to contact. When people access the website, either through their desktop or mobile phones, they'll find almost 40 different organizations sorted by the supports that they offer. There's also information on domestic abuse, the laws that apply, and how to plan for safety when dealing with domestic violence. The app is helpful not only for those directly experiencing crisis, but it's also a valuable resource for friends, family, and coworkers wanting to support people in unhealthy relationships. The app can be used from a computer or mobile device simply by visiting connectline.ca. That's our prepared statement. I welcome any questions that you might have.
What was the motivation, the trigger for something like this? Where did the need come from?
Well, domestic violence is a very real problem in Calgary. There's always a need to bring resources to the forefront so people can access them. But the trigger was 2 years ago, a group of 4 recruits giving a final community presentation about what they thought should be done to improve people's access to domestic services in Calgary, and they suggested that there be an app available for those to access it through a technological means.
Were you hearing feedback from women and men saying like this is hard to navigate, we just need one kind of simple place to go?
We have. One of the challenges with searching for resources can be that there's so many that exist, and some have availability for people, some have the resources that they're looking for, but when you Google something, you get thousands of results and it can be challenging to access. And so when we reached out to some of our stakeholders in testing, we found that there's a need to find immediate assistance. And the hope of the app is to be on a resource and contacting somebody within 60 seconds of opening it.
Have you explored the diversity angle? Like, is it available in different languages? Is there other?
There is a newcomers feature built within the app that links to some of the resources that can be helpful for people from those communities, and there is a hope to start releasing it in different languages at a later date.
How does this help the police efforts in combating domestic violence?
We went to 21,000 domestics in 2018, which is 2 every hour, and many of the ones that we attend are simply people looking for resources. And so if this allows us the opportunity for people to get ahead of the curve and to find those resources that they're looking for prior to contacting police, and that's certainly a win for us.
So is this more so kind of a way to streamline all the resources available to people who might need this kind of help rather than going through police to get it?
We are still extra committed to be there if they need our assistance finding those resources, but our external partners found the most relevant ones for the different categories that exist within the app to help guide people to those and get real-time assistance when they're experiencing crisis.
Great. I chatted earlier with someone who is a professional within the domestic abuse kind of sector, and they kind of worried that this kind of app might, while it is really helpful to have them all kind of connected together in one app, it still doesn't mean that someone will pick up the phone, because usually phone lines can be automated, or sometimes there could be problems that there just isn't the capacity to take these people in. Is there any way to streamline that?
One of the deciding factors on choosing the 40 different agencies that we did with our external partners from SAGES and from the Connect Family and Sexual Abuse Network was to bring resources on board that were real-time, that were monitored as close to 24/7 as they could be, so people reaching out wouldn't get an automated message or wouldn't have to deal with something just through business hours. The hope of the resources contained within the app is that they can be provided every day, every hour, every minute that somebody's looking for assistance. And while they're not all 24/7, they had the most availability that we could find.
How many people do you expect to use it?
Well, we'll have to see. I know that there's a number of different groups that we anticipate using it. Of course, there's people that are experiencing crisis that we hope to be accessing it, but then of course there's also professional workers, and there's also police officers that we hope to be accessing it to find the resources that they need.
What was the cost to make it?
So the cost was $15,000, and it was built through an external developer. But that being said, the cost of not making it is probably significantly more impactful.
Will it be monitored to see how effective this app is throughout the year or coming months?
So we have mechanisms built within the app not only to track the number of users that we have, but also a feedback mechanism where people can reach out and make suggestions that's monitored by the SAGES collectives that's assisted us with the app.
And what would be a successful number?
1. If we find a resource for one person through this app, then that's a win, right? And I anticipate certainly more than that will use it.
Like, how do the mechanics of it work? Like, do you just, like, I haven't looked at it, but you log on and then it directs you to a phone number and then you're able to click within the app, or?
Yep, so upon going to connectline.ca, you have 3 options. You can call 911, you can call the 24/7 Connect line, or you can go directly into the app. And then there's 2 major categories. There's helping services that's broken down into 15 different ones, like people seeking assistance from domestic violence, safety, shelter, housing, newcomers, LGBTQ+. And then there's questions and education, and the question and education focuses on different provincial acts, different types of restraining orders, how to safety plan. And when you click into some of those resources from the helping services portion, it lists as many as 5 different ones. We wanted to keep them succinct and we wanted to keep the numbers low. And that allows people to go in and see 5 different options that provide a phone number if one's available, directions if they're available, and then a brief synopsis as to what the resource is.
Are these other lovely folks that are standing beside you, I mean, we don't know what their stakeholder is, like, do they have something to add before we, like, is there someone here that can?
Yeah, you can grab them afterwards, but none of them had prepared statements for everything.
Yeah, which is fine, I just didn't, I mean.
So the people,
Is there someone here with the women's shelter, or
Yep.
so, okay.
So I'm
great,
Calgary Women's Mercy Shelter.
Great,
And we're with SAGES.
okay.
in the back are some sworn members that assisted on the project team, and then,
More of the technical team on this end.
because if you asked me to write code for an app, it wasn't happening, so.
Yes, fair enough. Well, I mean, would you mind coming to the podium so we can? ask
Sure,
you?
absolutely.
Let me sub you out.
Hit me. Yeah.
You know, you guys are on the front lines of this thing.
Yeah.
Talk to us about what you think this app is going to do.
Well, I think that, so the Connect line, which the Calgary Women's Mercy Shelter offers, we had previously a Connect card, and so the app, I think, is a different way that people can access it. So to the point someone raised earlier about people don't always call right away, the app gives people something to reflect back on and connect with maybe later as well. So it gives people a different way of accessing us and a different way of remembering that there is help out there, so that it's just another way of accessing the line, I think. So we're expecting that we will see an increase. So we've built it into our database already so that we can track how people are finding us, and we'll be able to monitor if people are actually using the app, and is this why they're calling us? Yeah. So we are expecting numbers to go up.
Yeah, talk about the impact that you hope that it has.
Well, we hope that it does encourage people to reach out in a different way, because they may lose the business card before, because there was a physical card that they would get. And so this may stick with people longer. It may give them something to reflect back on and then access at a later date. So they may lose a business card, but the app is something that stays with them on their technology that they could follow up with later.
I mean, is that what you were hearing from clients, that is that sort of a barrier to reaching out to help? I'm not talking about like the
Yeah.
simplicity of losing a business card, but.
Yeah, I think that I think what we hear is that there are lots of ways that people come into our service network, and that if we can keep as many of those doors open as possible, then that's a good thing, right? So our sort of philosophy is no wrong door, right? So that keep as many of those avenues open, and then you hope that people will find their way back into our system at some point, right? And so as many doors open is a good thing. So I think more, and people are using technology, right? And I think that our services have to do a good job of keeping up with that. And so people don't use business cards anymore, right? The cards, people lose them, but people do use their phones. And they're Googling, and it is confusing out there, so information is confusing. And so I think having technology work for us is always a good thing.
There's already a strain on resources for the Calgary Women's Emergency Shelter, so how
Yes.
will this further strain resources?
That's a really good question. Yes, we are seeing donations are down significantly for us. For our organization, we raise 50% of our budget is fundraised, and so our helpline is challenged right now as well. So I expect that this will increase our demand as well. But that's the business, right? We have to be out there. We have to be connecting with people, and so we're going to monitor and see what this does to the demand on services. But we are the Connect line. We have to be out there, right? So.
What does the app look like? Like when you click on it, does it say?
Yeah, it pops up with, there's 3 bars that you can click on. I think Travis mentioned that. And so the Connect line is one of the main bars that comes up. And so it's a really simple looking app, so it's easy to navigate, yeah.
Is there any fear that abusers might see the app?
Is there a safety,
I can
Middleton?
speak to that. There
Yeah.
is a safe exit built within the app, and so selecting the safe exit option opens to an innocuous website and closes the browser.
Yeah. And I would hope that perpetrators actually also use it. So the Connect line is not just for victims, right? The Connect line is also for people who are looking for help to change their abusive behavior. And so our counselors are trained to help people that are looking to change that behavior as well.